This is one of my favorite stories right here. This is where Outwork the Work was born. This is where it was birthed at right here. Ghetto Games with my cousin Mike McLeod. So we all had that older cousin who was just faster than us, stronger than us. He dressed better than us. He could just beat us up. You just never got to win. And I had a cousin like that. He was 2 years older than me, Mike McLeod. He was just better at basketball, at football, at soccer. Anything we played, Mike just dogged me. And I could never beat him. And so I remember one day him spending the night at my house. We was summertime in our apartment complex. And, my whole life, it's just been competitive. Mike's always just have a up on me. And then one day, though, he pushed me in a parking lot in front of everybody. And, we just out playing ghetto games. We doing knock, knock, zoom, zoom, knocking on doors and running. We throwing rocks at people. We doing just ghetto games, making stuff up, sitting on the green box in the apartment complex, just kicking it. And so Mike pushes me in the parking lot, and then he dips around the car. And now he's playing a juke game around the car, right? And so I don't know where this came from. Again, these are the stories that fueled me, that made me become me, that brought me to be me, that made me me. And so playing these ghetto games outside and jogging around this car while Mike is trying to juke me, I made up my mind that day, at that moment, that I was going to catch my cousin Michael, or I was going to pass out, whatever came first. And so I got tired of the juking game, so my strategy was simply this. My strategy was simply to outwork the work, right? The work was chasing them down. So as opposed to play this little juking game, right, I said, I'm going to run around the car and chase him in circles until either I passed out or he gave up. And so I just started running. He's running, right? No more juking now. I'm just running. I'm running. And mind you, he's faster than me. So I'm just running. And I'm breathing hard. And I'm starting to see stars in my eyes, right? I'm like literally starting to see blue. And I'm feeling fuzzy and daisy. And I really think I'm about to pass out. But I'm just like, I don't care. I stopped caring. I became crazy. And that's what I realized that I brought out of that situation, was that in order to be extremely successful, I'm talking about like uber successful, in order to be just at next level, you gotta be nuts. You gotta be crazy. You gotta not give a what about the consequences, about your comfortability, right? We got moral consequences. Yes, we stay within those lines. But when it comes to comfortability, when it comes to sleep, when it comes to eating, when it comes to just the basic, those things, man, we sacrifice for our mission, for our goals. And so I ran around till I was about to pass out. And I'm chasing them down hard as I can go. That's my whole goal. Was I'm gonna run as fast and as hard as I can for as long as I can until I collapse or he gives up. And before I collapsed, he just buckled, put his hands on his knees and said, "You got it." And that's when I knew that formula. After that day, I knew I could always win at life. If I could chase my cousin Michael down, who always beat me at everything, there was no reason why I could win. He was faster than me, he was stronger than me, he was more talented than me, he was more athletic than me. There was no other way that I beat him outside my will to succeed was stronger than his. My ability to outwork the circumstance was greater than his. And that's my dedication to him, because Mike, you inspired me, King. You made me me. That one moment, that day in my complex, I made up a new rule in my head, that as long as I didn't give up, and no matter what the hell was going on in my life, you only lost when you quit. If Michael would have kept going longer than me, he would have won. I would have passed out. He had the victory in his hands. He just didn't have to give up. But he gave up. And that's what I realized all throughout my life. Even coming out of prison as a 3-time felon, going back to the streets, I still was selling drugs after 3 felonies and 2.5 years in prison. I didn't want to give up. But then I found another way out and got into real estate and found out that I could still hustle. I still can run a business, but a legal one, and didn't have to worry about getting locked up. But I always stayed on my grind. I always was chasing that $1 million trillion. I always was outworking the pain that I went through in my life. And because I was persistent, and because I was consistent, and because I was willing to outwork my circumstance every trip, I've been able to become successful multiple times. I've made millions and blown millions and made it all back. All because I outworked the work.